It's almost another month, and again, a brand new opportunity to find the 3 top stocks to invest in. But for every stock that I'm showing you today, I would like to have from you 3 times smashing that like button, because usually what happens then, you basically switch on, switch off, and switch on the like, but maybe it's different with you. So let me know in the comments and let's start immediately. So if you know me, you know that I'm not the typical index investor. Though it's maybe one of the best vehicles for your investing, I believe that now it's a good time to do that, especially because of 2 reasons. First, I think that the market or the S&P 500 has a great opportunity to go higher significantly. And second, I believe there are so many new investors out there that should maybe start with an index, because you cannot do so much wrong. You will gain about 10% per year, and you're getting inside a market that is currently still beaten up by a very severe health crisis. So let's have a look into the S&P 500. If we are looking into the last 5 years, then you see that you would do about 46.74% gain. This would be approximately 10% per year, which would be fantastic. And on the other side, if we just look into the performance over the last 5 years before the crisis, this would be even 58.8%. Now, the S&P 500 contains the 500 best companies. Even there's 506 stocks inside, because some companies like Google have different class of stocks, and therefore both class of stocks are inside there. The most gain of the S&P 500 was due to 5-6 companies that are weighting heavily on the S&P 500, which are Apple, Facebook, Amazon, Microsoft, and all those companies are thriving through. But what will happen if the rest of the companies will recover as well? Then you will have a very, very strong S&P 500. But let's have a look in more detail of the chart. So looking into the chart of the S&P 500, I want to show you real quick here where we at and where we could go and which trend levels you should watch. So what I'm doing right now here, I'm marking just the highest point and the lowest point during the year-to-date chart, and then you can always, a very simple way to just see what is happening here if you are approximately putting, a trend line somewhere in the middle of that. Okay, so as you can see here, along this line there was some kind of resistance build up, but the overall trend, right, if you're just putting, let's say you're having this channel here, so this will be important for the overall situation. If we go further down than 3000, which you can see it's also here, a kind of resistant line somewhere in this area, definitely somewhere around 3000. Then the next resistant area should be around this 2800. And I think in the next downturn or the current downturn, however, as of this recording, the S&P 500 lost about 2.42%, and I am expecting the S&P 500 maximum to go down to 2800 and latest then going back up. It all depends on which news, but this is a very nice vehicle to start on the stock market if you want to go into, the US economy, which is, the best economy of the maybe most capitalistic country in the world. They never failed over the last, so many years. Let's have a look. What is the maximum we can pull out here? This is our trend lines if you are looking into. But as you can see, well, this is not correct here. If you are going into, let's say,
Okay, I don't know. It looks a little bit wild here, but you get the point. We are really going into one direction, especially after a crisis. You know, look at this, 2009, and we are approximately here right now, somewhere in this area, with the stimulus starting to work, and then, you know, with the recovery slowly of the overall economy, then you will see also the S&P 500 even going more up. So, and sky is the limit. So let's dive into the next one.
Now, if you know me and you're following this channel, then you know that I'm a Virgin Galacticer. Can you say this? Virgin Galacticer? There is Virgin Galactic Fridays. There is live streams that I'm doing about these companies. I still believe that in July, it's a great buy, especially with the latest news. We have a NASA agreement that I think is a pretty big deal. Then we have the test flight that was successful, and we have a stock that is still under these levels that people are actually was very willing to buy the stock for, and this is $40. Now let's have a look into the last 6 months. With about December 2019, starting with about $10.9 per stock, we grew over the crazy period until about, I think, mid of Feb, where we had the highest stock at 37. And this shows you something, that there are people out there that the whole economy, as how it works normally at this time with cheap money, is really pushing money into the growth stocks. Now I feel that most of the money goes into value stocks, and therefore growth stocks will have a second summer, as in my personal opinion, once the value companies are getting valued at a right price, because value investors don't like to pay overprice for companies. So there is the other push of the market, because hedge funds, pension funds, they need to make return on investment, and therefore growth stocks are the ones, especially with this big wave of new Robinhood investors, will have another push of this stock in the future. So I believe this is a long-term investment. So buy now and be happy, because I don't want you to say later on, man, why I haven't bought more. And the last stock that I want to show you is Carnival Cruise. Why is that? Why you want me to buy Carnival Cruise, a very dying industry right now, right? Well, think about it. Now, we know that currently the travel industry is almost dead. Now, it's not even fun to travel. I will travel soon, and believe me, it's not that fun to travel anywhere right now with the all quarantine and so on, which is very important, guys, but it's just doesn't make fun, okay? So on the other side, I believe that travel will come back, because people are so networked in their mind that they want to travel, guys. They want to go out, they want to see different cities. And what will happen if we get the new normal, where we have maybe the vaccine and travel picks up? All the hotels will be fully booked, all the airlines will be fully booked or super expensive, and therefore people will think, well, let's go on a cruise line, because a cruise line can also maintain a very high quality of hygiene, because it's like a closed environment, right? So you could test everyone coming on the ship, test everyone going out the ship, test during some stops in cities, and whoever contract will be isolated in the part of the ship, or need to leave at the next couple of stops or whatsoever. So I believe that this kind of system can work very well. And let's have a look where the stock came from. Now, boy, they came from $50. They absolutely smashed down to $12, $10, $8 was the lowest point. Then they went up and up and up and up. Since last lows, we gained already 100%. We have way much to go back to 50. If we just from the 16 going back, 100% from now on, we would not be even close to the 50 where we were. Now, obviously, this is not where the stock will be at any point of time soon in the next couple of months, because this is a business that will need to recover. But once they recover, and with the money, with the big investor, the Saudi public fund inside, I think it's one of the best comeback stocks for the recovery that you can have. So let's have a look into the stock in more detail.
So Carnival Cruise is one of my favorite comeback stocks because the reasons that I just told you. And if you're looking into the stock, you see what it dropped from about 50 to 16. And I want to show and go with you guys and show you that the overall trend is definitely going sideways-ish, right? But also slowly recovering. Let's say if the lowest point here was the 2nd of April, you see that the overall direction is going up, right? So this will be now the question if Carnival Cruise can hold those levels. I think, the overall support or big resistance should be somewhere around this level, so which is about 12-ish, right? So there's a lot of support here. Other than that, this stock can be very volatile. So don't get me wrong, but this is a risky trade. This can go on sideways for many months until we have real big news. But once we have this big news on vaccines, something that is really moving the markets, like the vaccine, maybe already on Sunday, right? On Sunday, a Chinese company or Chinese vaccine manufacturer shall come out with the phase 2 trials results, or data at least. So we should see if they come out with something breaking news, then and there's so many other vaccine news candidates and companies that are working on that. So I'm very confident that at one point Carnival Corporation will start again, and then maybe we will see a very interesting comeback to those levels, maybe here around 30, not directly to 50s, but 30s. I think it's very realistic. And if you can wait long, if you can wait patiently, and if your vision is long term, then you can double your money here with this stock. This would be my top tip for recovery stocks.